Canes up 1-0. Something out in front. It's on the goal line. They score! His second of the game. Oh, what a debut! And the adrenaline's really pumping now for Mark Jankowski. 2-0. Canes over the long drive, kicked up. Andersen with the save. Got a scramble. Coming back to help out is Taylor Hall. What a save by Hall. Ostas bear with it. Waiting, gets the shot through. They score! He put some stank on it. Logan Stankoven's first goal in his first game. And it's all the new guys here in Raleigh. 3-0 on the power play.
Well, what a day for Janky and Stanky. Or Janko and Stanko. Who knows? Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast, Caniac friends. I am Adam Gold. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, that will be the outside. You can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Great company, great people. Dynamite work. Best customer service in the industry. So if you need anything done, windows, doors, anything like that, no better place to call. Unless you're in Fort Worth, Texas, and I can't help you. But if you're in Fort Worth, and I know the Caniacs checking in from there, you get a chance to locally watch Mikko Rantanen. We'll talk about that. Dublin, Ireland, not Dublin, Ohio, Dublin, Ireland. Lancaster, PA checking in. Bogota, Colombia? Awesome. Go Louis Diaz, right? Let's see. Hamilton, Ontario. Adelaide, Australia, where it's 40 degrees Celsius today. Yeesh. That sounds hot to me. Mount Holly, North Carolina. Where Brooklyn at? Elon, North Carolina, and of course, Hyco Lake, the docks at Hyco Lake. All right. Thank you for everybody checking in. Real quick, this will be, I'm addressing this from the chat. You can always put stuff in the chat. This would be a great time for you guys to talk to each other, since while we're doing this, or while I'm doing this, I ain't reading the chat. I apologize. Just hard for me to do both, and because I'm old. And I probably need, some medicine. Anyway, somebody said we better not have a 15-minute podcast. When was the last time I did a 15-minute one of these suckers? Come on, man. I kid, but I can't remember the last time I did a 15-minute one. What do? We do 35 minutes in the emergency pod on Friday night. We all vented. I vented. It was funny. I got one comment about why you're so negative, and then I got another comment that said, man, at least you put a positive spin on it. Okay. Before we get to tonight's game, and I said on Friday that I'm sure there was stuff that I was going to forget that I would try to remember today. And I don't know if I forgot this or not, but I'm sure I'm going to bring up things that I'm thinking about regarding what happened over the last 6 weeks. And I don't know if I said this at the time, but I feel very strongly about this. Because, look, I know there's a lot of people that are mad at Mikko Rantanen, and, I mean, I'm not arguing. You have every right to be mad at him. Heck, we talked to Walt Ruff today, and who writes for Hurricanes.com. He seemed mad at Mikko Rantanen. I'm not mad at Mikko. I'm disappointed in how it all transpired. I'm disappointed that it didn't look like he played with any kind of enthusiasm the last few games. But I'm not mad at Mikko Rantanen. Wasn't his fault he was traded. He was put in a bad spot. Hurricanes were put in a bad spot. And it didn't work out the way anybody wanted. I shouldn't say way anybody wanted. I guess in the end it worked out the way Mikko wanted. He went to a place he wanted to go. Or he was willing to go. I think he wanted to stay in Colorado. But it's tough for Carolina. It's tough for Sebastian Aho. Tough for Jordan Staal, the captain of that team, because it really was it impacted everything. Now, throughout all of it, especially at the end, when you thought they would be over it, they went on a 3-game winning streak. Now it's 4, but they won their last 3 games. I mean, they kind of stunk against Boston, but still. So credit to them. But I want to give Eric Tulsky and Tom Dundon credit for trying. Now, did they do everything the way you would want it to be done? Probably not. I have not spoken to Eric Tulsky about this, but I hope to. And my curiosity is, would they change how they went about this in the doing it again? Because they're going to do it again. They're going to go for it again. So on one hand, I give them total credit for making the swing to get a player with the resume of Mikko Rantanen. I give them tons of credit for that. It didn't work out. Should they have known? I'm gonna in a couple minutes, I'm gonna play a clip. Actually, we're gonna do it before we really get into the game. But I thought, and I do a pregame interview with Rod Brind'Amour every game. And I thought that this particular conversation, I got more in the way of a response to, I think, an important question. Most of the questions are dopey. But I got more in the way of an important question, information, than I ever thought I would get. And I'll play it for you in a second. But ultimately, here's what I would say the big picture is. They had to go through a pretty turbulent, certainly the last 2 weeks. So you had Mikko for 6 games total. He'd only played 5. He didn't play the last game against Utah before Four Nations. Then you go away to Four Nations, blah, blah, blah. And they come back. Toronto, Montreal, bad games both. Toronto was probably worse than Montreal. But really, when they came back, Mikko wasn't all that good. And I'm not saying that I knew then, but I had an inkling that Mikko wasn't going to sign. I had, I talked to people, and I wasn't ruling it out, but it looked to me like it wasn't going to happen. And at that point, and even during Four Nations, I was checking in with sources about, are you considering, would the Hurricanes consider trading him? And my little investigation said, yeah, it depends. And I had no inclination that it was anything like serious, but they were open to it way back when. This is before Four Nations, or just as Four Nations was starting. And if I knew that then, and you saw the type of people who kept reporting it, I kind of felt like it was a very real possibility. I didn't think it was a done deal, but as it turned out, it was a real possibility. I still don't understand why they played him against Detroit. I really don't. Not Detroit, Boston. That to me is a game you don't play him, because that's an asset. You got a good, useful player, Logan Stankoven. We have friends here. We got a good, useful player in Logan Stankoven, and 4 draft picks in return for Rantanen. What if Rantanen got hurt against Boston? What do you get then? Like, that was a strange decision to me. Anyway, but I give him credit for trying. The roster now versus the roster before the trade for Rantanen. So put Necas and Drury here and take Hall and Stankoven off. Is the roster better? Probably not, but it's not a wide gap. Hall and Stankoven versus Necas and Drury. Neither Hall nor Stankoven is a center, and you lose a good center in Jack. So that to me gives it a little bit more. Before the deals, you were probably a little bit better. But then again, now we throw Mark Jankowski in the mix, and if you're going to score 2 goals a game, Jankowski will score, what are there 18 games left? If he's going to score 36 goals the rest of the way, then you're much better. By the way, his real name is Mikko Jankowski. It's my understanding, Mikko Jankowski. He has 2 goals, Mikko Rantanen had 2 goals. He played 39 periods to get those 2 goals. Jankowski's only had to play 3. I'm using all the material right now. Hurricanes end up with a lot of forwards here, by the way. William Carrier, I believe Eric Tulsky said they expect back for the start of the playoffs, or at least sometime early in the playoffs. And that would give them 14 forwards when Carrier comes back. I still think I'd like to see a Bradley Nadeau sighting here at some point. And I thought Scott Morrow had some pretty good moments today. And I'd like to see him get more time. Maybe a game against a team like Winnipeg wasn't the time for it. Maybe it's not going to be the time for it against Tampa on Tuesday, but still. I thought he looked pretty good tonight. Great pass for the first Jankowski goal. So, all in all, I think the Hurricanes, they made the most of the situation. It wasn't great, and it was a very difficult time. All right, I want to play the clip from Rod Brind'Amour, and then we're going to get to the game. So remember one of the narratives going around after this whole thing, even before the trade of Rantanen, when it became obvious that it wasn't going to work out, the narrative became, man, these great players, they don't want to play in Carolina. You've heard me talk about this before. As a matter of fact, I think I was pretty pointed on the emergency podcast on Friday that Guentzel wanted to stay and that guys like Vincent Trocheck wanted to stay. Obviously, Skjei and Pesce both wanted to stay. Carolina could not meet their contract demands. I would argue that in the Guentzel case, as you'll hear from Rod Brind'Amour, they eventually did, just too late. Trocheck, they could have, and had already moved on, whatever. I think they did try to figure out a way to keep Skjei, but they couldn't go to the number that Nashville went to. And I think they were always going to let Pesce walk for reasons that have everything to do with Brett Pesce's body, kind of the projection of it just not lasting. Brett is one of my all-time favorite Hurricanes. All-time favorite Hurricanes. I love him. I love him as a player. I love him as a guy. He's dynamite. I wish they had kept him, but I really do understand why they didn't want to take the risk. I mean, Teuvo Teravainen, I know he's having a great year, but Turbo's last couple of years here were not great, and they don't think his body is going to age well, and it probably won't. But maybe he won't need a body to age well because he's just an absolute brilliant hockey player, but he hadn't really been productive the last couple of years. Anyway, for the most part, they've done a very good job of identifying players that want to be here. But the big guys that they've had, I'm going to play this clip from Brind'Amour. It's a fallacy that they don't want to stay here. Here's Rod, this little bit of our pregame interview that really stuck with me.
There's not been one guy that has left here because they didn't like it here. That was except for Mikko, and he did not like it. When he showed up, he said, "There's 4 teams I'll go play for." Well, you're not one of them. So there's 28 other teams he wasn't going to. And when the better question is, should we have known that before we signed him,
right?
Or attempted to sign him? You know, Guentzel was a totally opposite thing. We had offered him the contract. We offered him at the end. He's here,
right?
Well, we didn't for whatever reason. That's a different conversation. And all the other guys that walked out of here at free agency is because they got paid a lot more money than we were offering. They all wanted to stay. Right. So Mikko was the only one that I've been associated with that said, I don't want to, this is not for me. And I think there's other circumstances on that. It's not because of the hockey. It was because I think his family, it wasn't for him. Mm-hmm. So good. And I appreciate that he let us know that. We probably should have known that before we made the deal. Maybe that changes how we go about things.
There's a lot to unpack there, isn't there? Yes. Should they have known that Mikko Rantanen was never going to sign here? Probably. And we chalk that up to a mistake. Learn from that mistake and move on. In terms of, did they move on effectively enough? I mean, it wasn't an A+, but it wasn't terrible. Logan Stankoven looks like he's going to be a useful player. I don't know if he's a top line guy, but he was today. He scored a power play goal, little net front presence off the shaft of the stick past Connor Hellebuck. And they got 4 draft picks, 2 firsts, 2 thirds. Nothing this year. It's kind of spread out, but that's fine. Those are all assets that will come in handy down the road. Anyway, so yeah, should they have known? You certainly would have liked to have known. And by the way, for the people who said what really bothers me is that Rantanen signed with Dallas right away. He didn't even play. Look, Mikko Rantanen's been around the league. He's been in the league for what, almost 10 years? Of course, he knows the cities that he wants to go to. Or, as Rod alluded to, he knows the cities where his fiance wants to go to. We all make decisions in this world based on where we want to live, where we want to work, where we want to play, for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes it's not the job that draws you. Sometimes it's your family that draws you to a place. Without getting into anything specific, I know somebody right now that works in Lexington, Kentucky. Not that Lexington, Kentucky is not a wonderful place. I have been there. It's lovely. But he has no interest in living there, except his family brought him there. Now, that's fine. We all make decisions based on different things. So, and the Jake Guentzel stuff we've talked about. I've been screaming about this for a full year. Again, that was a mistake by the front office to try to get Guentzel to accept lesser money to stay. And what they didn't really calculate was that the $8 million that he was asking for already represented less money. So we move on. Let's get to tonight's hockey game. All right. This was the 4th win in a row. It had a ton of elements that you like to see. It had really good goaltending. Let's pretend the last 2 goals didn't go in, one of which is just a giveaway and was scored into an empty net. The first of which, that's the one you wouldn't want to see, but it was 3-0 at the time, and there were under 3 minutes. While it wasn't completely sealed, the Hurricanes were in pretty good shape. I thought that Winnipeg's chances were kind of sporadic. I don't think their chances were based on sustained puck possession or pressure. I think their chances, Winnipeg is the best team in the league. They're going to get chances. They've got elite players. So you're just not going to shut them down all night? Freddie made some excellent saves. The save he made on Kyle Connor at the top of right at the top of the crease. And Connor's alone with the puck. He's got 33 goals in the season. He's going to score that. Freddie, glove, awesome. The clip we played in the opening montage, the save on Gabe Vilardi. I don't know who took the initial shot, but it was a non-threatening shot. And really, if that's a goal, and that was a big spot because it was 2-0. If that's a goal, that's on Freddie, because that's a bad rebound to give. Like, if you're going to kick that, you kick that in the corner. He kicked it right to Vilardi, who was, didn't have a great angle, but he was so close to the net, didn't matter. But Andersen got over. That was a great save. I think the best save of the night. And not only did he stop that one, but then Taylor Hall gets to the back post because Vilardi got the rebound off the Andersen save, was bringing it around to wrap it in, and Hall got there first. Tremendous play. Really was. I thought that was outstanding. The save that Andersen made, where he ultimately had to cover the puck with his glove, and then Slavin came in, and they kind of swept it behind the net. The initial save on that play, with I believe it was Nick Ehlers to the side of the goal, redirecting it, trying to anyway, from well outside the framework of the net. And that was going in. Freddie got there. That was a tremendous save. And then that whole scramble happened, and Freddie gloved it, and ultimately he and Slavin got the puck outside the framework of the net. But it was just a dynamite save. So Freddie Andersen played dynamite tonight. So this is 4 in a row. Kochetkov 2, Andersen 2. Maybe it's happening. Maybe what we had hoped to see as soon as Andersen came back in January. Maybe what we hoped to see then, we're getting to now. I'm not saying we are, but it's been 2 in a row, good performances for each guy, and another big test coming on Tuesday when Kochetkov, I'm guessing here, will take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. But really, 2 great performances. The Andersen save on Cole Perfetti on the breakaway, another one. Just waited him out. Absolutely outstanding. So it was good to see another good goalie performance, because we've been getting out goalied for a lot of the season. And the last 4 wins have all been, whether Carolina out goalied the other team or not, I mean, they got 4 wins. We certainly haven't been outplayed at that position. And man, that you just have to hold your own. You want to be great, you have to get good goaltending, and the Hurricanes have gotten it. All right, so maybe it's law of averages, but I did feel like there was some building momentum to the power play. They got 3 power plays in the first period. One of them was a double minor, and until Svechnikov killed it with a hook, while Carolina didn't look necessarily threatening, for 3 minutes, they at least had zone time. Look, you got to crawl before you can walk, man. And Rod said it after the game. Probably should shoot the puck a little bit more. See, that's what I would really like to see him do. I think the only way you're going to get out of it is to just pump shots into traffic, pump shots on net, and go get rebounds. Just crash the net and get a rebound. So they didn't do that on that in 3 of the 4 minutes. And then, of course, Svech takes the penalty. They get 1 in the second period, I believe. They get the, 4th power play, which for me, for 90 seconds, actually looked pretty good. There was good puck movement. There was good player movement. Not enough shots. The last 30 seconds of that power play, it kind of just fizzled out in too much dusting the puck off. But the last power play was good. Yes, it scored, but it probably scored because it was good. They moved the puck well. There was player movement. There were some retrievals. And finally, Logan Stankoven in front of the net deflected it with the shaft of his stick past Hellebuck. And it was 3-0. So you got a power play goal. How about that? The running joke for me during the game was, and I did this after Mark Jankowski's second goal. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but Mark is Mikko in Finnish. I made that up. I don't think it is. I think you could call somebody Marco. I don't know. I made the whole thing up, but I just thought it was funny, and I would bring the joke right here to the Canes Corner podcast. But it took Mikko 39 periods of Hurricanes hockey to score 2 goals. And it took Mark Jankowski 2 periods. In fact, he played about 11 minutes tonight. And through 2 periods, he only played 5. But he had 2 goals in those 5 minutes in the first 2 periods. Great story. He seems like a good guy. I hope to, talk to him very soon. But he played well, and he looks like he fits. He's a good skater, big body. I don't necessarily think he's a super, bruiser, throw his body all around, but he's got a big body, and Carolina needs guys with big bodies. Speaking of big bodies, Svechnikov had a couple of rough shifts physically and left the ice, didn't don't think he played over the last 7 or so minutes. We'll keep an eye on it. Hopefully there's not a serious injury there. But, so you don't want to lose him. The Hurricanes need as many big bats as they can get. And I know it hasn't been a great year for Andre, but he's still a big bat. I mean, there is low batting average, high strikeouts for Andre, but the threat of the long ball is real, and Carolina needs more of those guys, not less of them. So let's hope that Andre will be okay. I do want to spend a couple of minutes talking about 2 players. And first of all, let me wish Brent Burns a happy 40th birthday. I thought he played very well tonight. I think he has been very good the last several games. I know how this pains Hurricanes Twitter. I get it. Let me just say it out loud. He ain't going anywhere. You got him for the rest of the year. I don't think there's going to be a Burns extension beyond age 40. My guess is he might find a place to play another year. I think more than likely he'll call it quits after the year. Maybe he'll lift the Stanley Cup. Whatever. I don't know. I'd love to see that happen for him because he's been a great player for a long time. He was a great player in year 1 here. Wasn't as good last year. I was surprised. But, he was also, as we found out after the fact, kind of dealing with probably a sports hernia for a good chunk of the season. Hung in there. And I thought he got off to a great start this year. Defensively, not offensively. And then his defense waned over the last 6 or so weeks. And he was just bashed unmercifully on social media. I think he's been good lately. My only advice, I'm not telling you to love him. I'm not telling you to overlook the mistakes. Call them out. Call the mistakes out. That's fine. But he's been a lot more good than bad. And he ain't going anywhere. He's going to play with Slavin. He played almost 24 minutes tonight, just like Slavin did. He's going to play. I mean, you just at this point, you're old man yelling at cloud. Hey, the cloud might be disappointing, but it's your cloud. So happy birthday to Brent Burns. Jacob Slavin, I'm going to use this joke again. I've used it already, maybe even here, I'm not sure. Slavin, you know how like a lot of guys have stick deals with Bauer or Easton or Warrior. My son used a Warrior stick because he loved Aho when he was playing hockey. I believe that Slavin uses a stick made by Ollivander. Look it up, people. He is unbelievable with his stick. Doesn't make a difference where it is, on the ice, in the air. He will knock that sucker down and get it out of Dodge. He was amazing. Since Four Nations ended, Jacob Slavin is getting better. I thought tonight was a masterclass from Slavin on the heels of Thursday's masterclass against Boston, on the heels of the masterclass against Detroit, against Calgary. He has been great. So, and the other guy, for me, the best forward in the game, and bless Mark Jankowski's heart for scoring 2 goals, or Logan Stankoven for scoring a goal. My first star was Seth Jarvis. I think that dude was awesome tonight. Jarvis and Slavin, to me, were the 2 best players. And although Jankowski scored 2 goals, so on social media, I think you'll see my 3 stars were Andersen, Jankowski, and Jarvis. But Jarvis, to me, was the best player in the game. Jacob Slavin was right behind him. So I gave Slavin the player of the game because we basically are giving out 4 stars now. But man, was Seth good. He played 22 minutes and 44 seconds, about 4 minutes more than Sebastian Aho. If you're a Hurricane forward and you're playing more time than Aho, and Aho isn't hurt, you have played your butt off. He was awesome tonight. Some guys, you get rewarded. You deserve the cookie of an empty net goal. That was Seth Jarvis tonight. Dynamite player. I said this last year. We might be sitting here 2 years from now saying Jarvis is actually their best player. He's so good. I thought Jackson Blake was very good tonight, too. Again, he's going to get, maybe he's waiting until late April to start scoring goals. I don't know. But I thought Jackson Blake was very good tonight as well. He is an offensive creativity machine. And I look forward to him taking another step as a player. It's probably year 2. But I think he has a lot of the same qualities as Jarvis. Jarvis they're both tenacious. They both hound the puck. They're both pests. They're both not very big. When Jackson Blake gets Seth Jarvis strong, and Seth still needs to get a little bit stronger, but again, we're talking about somebody who's what, 23, 24? Blake's going to be a good player in this league. So that was a good win. Now you see if you can win your 5th in a row against Tampa. By the way, let me just confirm this in the on the scoreboard. I believe the blue. I want to make sure I get the final, because the Blue Jackets were there. They won it 7-3. Columbus beats the Rangers. So if we're looking at the wild card standings right now, New Jersey's on 74 points. They're 6 points behind Carolina. New Jersey won today. Columbus is just 4 points behind the Devils, but they've got 2 games in hand. Columbus could catch New Jersey. Without Jack Hughes, we have to see what New Jersey is like without Jack Hughes, but Columbus just 4 points behind the Devils. And the Rangers were tied with Columbus today, although Columbus has a game in hand. And now Columbus has gone to 70 points. The Rangers stay at 68. Columbus still has the game in hand, plus 2-point cushion for the first wild card spot. But again, the Devils not that far away. So do you want a Carolina Rangers first round? It could happen. We still got plenty of time left. The Hurricanes have 18 games left to play. So too do the Rangers. So we could still see some changes in the standings, and the team that finishes third could be New York over New Jersey. Could be Columbus over New Jersey. Anyway, Capitals won, and I'm looking forward to see the Tampa Bay Lightning on Tuesday. Are we going to boo Jake Guentzel again? We shouldn't boo Jake Guentzel. He wanted to stay here. We should thank Jake Guentzel. Anyway, we're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. You should check them out for all of your exterior home improvement needs. I hope Mikhailov out in Adelaide Hills, I hope you're staying inside. I hope you have air conditioning. And I hope all of you guys have a good night. I am Adam Gold. We will see you Tuesday after the Canes and the Bolts right here on the Canes Corner podcast live on YouTube. Rate, review, like, what I don't know what else you do. Subscribe to it, right? I mean, it's not terrible. Have a good one. We'll see everybody on Tuesday.